In case you missed it, Splatoon 3's Artbook released in Japan a few days ago, and we've already gotten some really interesting concept art from the game, and other details about the game's lore that I'm sure you'll want to know about. Not only that, but we get a look at some content that could have been scrapped, some that was changed later on, or others that may actually still come in the future of the game. So, in this video, I'll be taking a look at some of the most interesting new details which have been shared. I won't be sharing everything, but I highly recommend that you go check out Rassikas over on Twitter, who has done all of the translating for most of the info that I share within this video. They also have their own amazing YouTube channel, which I'll be linking down in the description, although I'm sure most of you have probably already heard of them. So please definitely give them your support as they've shared some really great stuff. So, let's start off with Deep Cut. Rassikas has shared a lot of lore info about them which you can find over on their Twitter, but one detail I wanted to share in particular is the fact that Fry actually has siblings. Fry has a brother that is 2 years younger and also younger twin sisters as well. Deep Cut is honestly really interesting to me, and I'm loving learning even more about their backstories and such. We've gotten a little bit of that in the interviews and such for them that I have shared before on this channel, but it's great to get even more information that we didn't know before. We're really spending a lot of time with these characters now, as Splatoon 3 will be a year old in September this year, so I've definitely really grown a big fondness for them. I just find it so interesting that Fry seems to have quite a big family, and hopefully in the future we can learn even more details about these characters that we love. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't seem like Shiva or Big Man have any siblings, although I might have missed something. Continuing on with Deep Cut, you may have seen this really interesting concept art of what Deep Cut would have looked like at an early stage. This is incredibly fascinating for so many different reasons, but whilst everyone is kind of talking about how Fry and Shiva looks and their different hairstyles, to me the most interesting thing by far is the fact that Big Man appears to have been an Octo Trooper at some point. This is a radically different design than what we got in the endgame. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy though that we got Big Man as he is because I think he's absolutely perfect, but this is incredibly fascinating to me. I have to say, I do really like the looks for Fry and Shiva here. I feel like it would have suited the theme of the game quite well. But they've still kept their core design elements intact, I believe. You can see what color scheme they were going for, and they've kept that true. It's definitely Big Man that by far has had the biggest transformation, as obviously he is not an Octoling, and he does not look anything like an Octo Trooper anymore. In some of the other concept arts for Deep Cut, Big Man wasn't actually there at all, so I guess it was an idea to have a third character a little bit later on, which is really interesting. You can see how much thought they've actually put into these character designs to evolve them as time has gone by to what we finally got when Splatoon 3 launched. And I'm really grateful for the changes that they've made to Big Man. I honestly don't think he would have been as beloved if he was an Octo Trooper, so the change is definitely a big positive. Now we have some interesting lore about King Salmonids. Rassikas translated that King Salmonids are the highest rank of Salmonid, and they actually have to train for years and survive numerous battles in order to reach their current rank. When the smell of Inklings that they're already familiar with becomes strong enough, that's when they will arise to attack, something that we actually do get indicated in game. King Salmonids are absolutely terrifying. We've just recently gotten Ouroboros, and I'm sure there are even more out there, so I feel like there's a lot more for us to learn about them and how they work. I've always found Salmon Run such an interesting mode in terms of the lore, and we did get a little bit more of that with the story mode of Splatoon 3, but honestly, there is still so much that we do not know. The game and these other pieces of media do give you good indications. It's really great when we get new tidbits of information like this, especially about the King Salmonids which are new to Splatoon 3. I can't wait to see what other types of King Salmonids arise from the oceans in future updates. I'm sure they're going to be absolutely terrifying. Something that is really fascinating is this concept art of something called the Tribe. It seems like this might be really early concept art for a story mode. Now, you can see it has some similarities to what we originally got. After all, there is the Mr. Grid statue right at the top. But something incredibly interesting is it seems like the story mode would have brought together all of the different agents. That certainly would have been a lot more epic than what we did end up getting, and I guess this is an idea that they may save for some point in the future. Don't get me wrong, I really love the story mode of Splatoon 3, especially the inclusion of Mr. Grizz, but I would have loved to have seen what the Tribe would have been as well. You also have to look at Captain Cuttlefish with those really cool Octarian glasses, and just generally, there's a lot here that you could analyze. I do wonder if perhaps Nintendo may actually save this for some point in the future, and they could do a story mode with all of the agents. That would be incredibly cool. Especially if you could go through and play as all of them as well. I would really love that, and I'm sure so many players would purchase that if it happened to be a DLC. Although, to be fair, they could just save it for the next Splatoon game. I guess we'll have to see exactly what Nintendo has planned, but I'm really glad that we got a look at the Tribe, this early concept art for the story mode in Splatoon 3. On one of the fashion pages, we can see a really interesting weapon that currently is not in the game, at least it doesn't look exactly like this. These two stingers almost look like jewelry paintbrushes, something that I've seen a lot of comments about. Now, it's unknown if that's exactly what they are. They could be something totally different, they could just be some form of jewelry, but I think they look incredibly cool. Who knows, maybe this weapon could still actually make it into the game at some point in the future. I think if it did happen to be jewelry brushes, this would be an absolutely amazing addition to the game, and something that I would definitely like to see added. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think it is exactly, and I'd also love to see some suggestions for what this could possibly be named. This one's gonna upset a few of you. We get a look at some of the hairstyles that did not make it into the game, and there are quite a few. These are obviously just concept art, so they may have never planned to actually add these in, but I really like the look of some of these. Honestly, I really wish we had them. Now, don't be too disappointed, it is still possible in the future that we could get more hairstyles. After all, Splatoon 2 did update later on with more hairstyles, which was really great, so that is something we potentially could still see in Splatoon 3. I'm sure Nintendo has a ton of ideas for different hairstyles they could add, and this concept art just gives you a good indication of some of what we could expect, as well as some of the outfit choices as well that we could see in the future, which would be really great, honestly. Splatoon 3 honestly hasn't had a ton of new clothes in terms of what has been added in updates. They've mostly just been reskins of existing clothes, so I'm hoping they'll kind of think outside the box and add some totally new designs for us to wear. New clothes alongside new hairstyles and customization options would be absolutely amazing, so I'm hoping that is something we see a proper update for at some point in the future. Once again though, it's great to see from this art book just how much attention to detail Nintendo puts into these sorts of things. There's certainly a lot of love and care when it comes to designing each aspect for our characters. That is something that makes me really happy. But let me know in the comment section down below which details you found the most interesting. I would absolutely love to hear. If you made it to the end of this video, then be sure to comment Splat Gang down below so I know you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on channel notifications for more.